What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm not in my own house, I'm actually at my granddad's house. Now I'm just going to go ahead and explain the situation. So basically my granddad stopped driving like 2 or 3 years ago now, and he wanted to give my sister the car when she passed the test. She passed the test like a week ago. Unfortunately, that meant that the car has actually been sitting for about 2 or 3 years, you know, 2.5, 3 years. So it's got to get to the stage where it can actually be MOT'd and then put back on the road. A car sitting for, you know, a good amount of time is not really the best thing. It will need quite a bit of work doing to it, and it's not really something that I've done before, but I'm going to give it a go. This is not going to be a how-to guide on how to do it, but I thought I'd make this video series, and hopefully it's going to help you guys if you ever have a similar situation yourself. I'm going to open the garage and you guys will see what car it is pretty shortly. Okay, I think we might need to move some stuff first. Okay then, so here it is. It's a 2008 Fiat Punto. I think it's a 1.2. Yeah, 1.2. I think these are only like 65 horsepower, but it's an ideal first car, really. It really hasn't got that much mileage on it. I know obviously it looks very dirty and whatever else, but it's been sitting for like the best part of 3 years, so it's gonna need cleaning up when we're done with it, getting back it on the road and whatever else. Okay, so I guess the first thing that we should do before even trying to move the car is manually crank the engine over, because, you know, if an engine's been sat in for a great deal of time, then there's a possibility that the engine could seize up. This has been, you know, left in the garage. It hasn't been like left in a very wet environment, so there shouldn't have been too much moisture buildup in the engine. And you know, 3 years isn't a whole lot. I mean, I've seen engines turn over that have been sat for like 20-30 years, so I don't think that the engine will have seized up, but we will obviously crank it manually before we, you know, attempt to start it or anything like that. How to manually crank it, obviously I'll show you, but essentially you just got to put a spanner, a socket, something like that on the crankshaft. You turn the crankshaft, and the crankshaft is connected to the camshafts via a timing belt, and then that'll turn the whole engine round. And just make sure we've got some oil up the top, because that will actually pump oil from the sump up to the top essentially when we go to start the engine the first time. The thing we do not want is like a dry start, so we don't want to have like metal on metal contacts, like where the camshafts is going to be getting worn. That's not what we want. So we need to try and get some oil up to the top of the engine. But first we're going to crank it over. Let's do it. Okay, so this is actually the first time inspecting underneath the bonnet, and it actually doesn't look that bad. You know, obviously, you know, a couple of leaves that's probably been blown under the garage or whatever else, but it doesn't look too bad. A few cobwebs. That battery there is actually the original battery, so not even gonna bother trying to charge it up because it will be completely dead after 3 years. But yeah, everything looks in pretty good condition. No like infestations of rats or anything, so that's always good. Let's find the crankshaft, which should be on this side of the engine, down at the bottom, and let's find out which size socket it needs. And it might also be a good idea to check the oil filler cap, see if any moisture's been built up. No, I mean that's like bone dry, so there's not had any condensation on there. I'm going to check the dipstick as well. No, oil actually looks very good. I think it was actually serviced just before it was you know, put to stand for a couple of years. I'm actually going to leave this off so I can see the see if I can see the camshafts turning around. Okay, so on this engine the crankshaft bolt is actually 15 millimeters. So I'm just going to put this on the crankshaft and crank it round. Access isn't really that good in here, but we're going to find a way. Is it on? Yeah. It's making noise. I can hold that. Okay, so I'm not too sure if you could tell from that angle there. I do apologise about the angle, you know, I know it's not great, but I'm just working off a tripod. So you can see that the, well, you might have saw that the engine was actually cranking round then. You can see the drive belt, which drives the water pump, air conditioning, compressor, and usually like power steering pump. You can see that was going round. Which is that's connected to the crankshaft, so that means that the crankshaft was actually turning. It actually felt pretty good, actually felt pretty smooth, so I'm confident that the engine hasn't seized. Like I said, 3 years is not a long time. You know, I've seen engines that have been sat for like 20-30 years which have still cranked around fine, and this being in a garage, it's like pretty good conditions for an engine that's been sat. Okay, so now we know that the engine cranks around fine. We know that the engine will be good to start for the first time. We're not at the stage where we can start it yet. There's still a whole lot more left to do. But I'm going to go ahead and move the car out of the garage so we can take a closer look, walk all around the car, see what sort of you know, damage, if any, has been caused from, you know, sitting for like 2-3 years. And we'll have a look inside as well, see if there's any things like moisture and rot and mold and things like that that are built up inside. So I'm going to get this car out of the garage now. Let's have a closer look. Okay then, so we've officially got it out of the garage now, and this will give us a good opportunity to actually walk around the car and see if we can notice anything wrong with it, just from looking at it. But from rolling it for the first time, that was a good indicator to me that the brakes hadn't seized on, the handbrake hadn't seized on. So that's good, because if they had, then I would not have been able to push it that easily, out of the garage and down that little drop there. So yeah, looking good so far. Okay, so let's have a look inside right now. Now obviously, like, things like the mat's very dirty, there's some paperwork and seat covers and things like that, but in general, like, it's actually not that dirty in here. These are just seat covers that are on, so these can be taken off, if and when they need to. But apart from like some dog hairs and just general, dust that can be hoovered up, it actually doesn't look that bad. It's actually pretty clean in here. Steering wheel's looks brand new, no wear marks on it or anything, and yeah, this should clean up quite nice, I think. Actually looks quite clean in the right light. Okay, so this is the front, you can see. Walking around the side, obviously just really dusty, to be honest. Got things like that all on the side, just covered in dust. Tires are actually, fairly new. I'm pretty sure the rears are actually brand new before the car was left to sat, and then the fronts, they've got like a good amount of tread on them as well. So this is around the side. Let's look around the back. Yeah, just a lot of dust. If you can see in there, the brake drums are pretty dusty, but nothing that a good paint can't fix. Yeah, everything looks to be in one piece. Now, one problem that you can run into as well, if a car's been sat for a long time and it's actually been sat on the ground, like with the tyres making contact with the ground on a flat ground, is that you can get flat spots on the tyres. Now, we're not going to be able to tell if we've got flat spots on the tyres until we actually drive the thing, so that's going to be for a few days yet. But walking around the car, everything seems to be okay from just from a inspection point of view. I guess we will probably end this video here, because I'm going to make this into a series and I don't want to make one video like an hour long. So I guess that's video one. That's the first video in this series. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please give it a like if you have, leave a comment down below, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in that next one. Peace.